So a couple of things arrived today, a couple of things arrived earlier. All in all, it should be an okay update, I think. Although that said, I'm tired, so let's turn this upside down. Begin with Marine Boy, the complete second season, 3 days, 26 episodes. You may recall that there was a Marine Boy Season 1 released. As far as I can tell, this is legitimate. It says WarnerArchive.com. That does seem to have a lot of other things, and the site does specifically claim this is burn on demand, which is why it's purple. And as far as I can tell, this is technically anime, but I don't know. I'm just collecting. It is what I do. Next, we finally have Rio Rainbow Gate, which has been on AnimeWorks / Media Blaster's 2 release schedule for a long time now. This isn't anything like the cover that has been everywhere, that's been labeled as promotional material and maybe not the real thing, so to be expected. That's it. I have no idea what this is about. And just to make sure, it is Japanese audio only. So that's within expectations. We've got the Magi, the Labyrinth of Magic, set 2. This was DVD only, I guess. Episodes 13 through 25. There's a good question of how much I can remember from the first something or the other thingy-majig. But I'll figure that out later. Y'all don't have to be a party of that. Now, I remember the Magi set being... Magi set being kind of little, like it's not completely closing correctly. And looks like that is definitely just the natural state of it, because this one is like that before I've even opened it, which is good to know. So we've got artwork on the inside, because it's a reversible cover. And we've got 3 DVDs. And then, of course, we got a bunch of little extra thingies that came with it. Proof of purchase, other card thingy. We've got a deluxe booklet, volume 2, which is very has stuff. And then we've got this, which has postcards. Very different outfit for her. So we've got cards. Nice, simple, straightforward. Now they go back into their seal for all eternity until somebody digs up the Stargate. I guess this was like that. And now we try to close the set again, and it is a little fat, but we just accept that as a fact at this point. Let's see. Next up, we've got a Upotte. I'm not sure how that's supposed to be pronounced. It looks like this has English and Japanese audio. It's region A only. Lots of shots. And of course, since this is a Sentai release, we're going to have to compare the two together. just because. Let's see. Let's put the Blu-ray in front, because the DVD is going to have 2 discs. Interesting. Let's double check. It's 10 episodes plus an OVA, so it's a 2 DVD set, which means that the Blu-ray is highly likely to have the same 2 images. And that's the case. So we got that. Got that. Let's make sure back here it says the same thing, since all 10 episodes plus OVA on 2 discs. Good to know. Next up, we've got the Blu-ray release of Love Ru. This one is Region A only, and the audio is Japanese only, which means there's no dub. So this isn't a new dub. This is just Sentai releasing one of their somewhat notable series, I think. Releasing one of their series on Blu-ray. I could dig up the old Love Ru releases to see if any of these artworks are the same as those, but I'm not in any particularly big rush. This might be a good excuse to rewatch the series as a precursor to rewatching Love Ru Darkness? I don't know. So we have this, which is actually upside down. Not that he's upside down, but rather that I was holding it upside down. This would be Bleach Set 20. Okay, as usual, the inside isn't particularly spectacular. That's to be expected, though. It's a Viz release, so I don't know, English and Japanese audios. So pretty much everything we'd come to expect from a Viz release. So that would be this week's update. You know, not spectacular, or at least not as big as all the others, but still pretty good. Let's see. I wonder if there's other stuff to talk about other than stuff I watched. I guess regarding Anime Souls, I did finally put in some money to help for the 4th and final set of this. And of course, while I was at it, I ordered sets 2 and 3 through them. So hopefully, those arrived pretty quickly. Maybe quicker than this arrived and came out. I haven't watched this yet, so I haven't quite reached the point where I really want to have those here now, please, 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 or anything like that. But let's see. I should probably do that. That was just the good news, is that all 4 sets of Creamy Mommy were successfully funded, so they should all be released unless something comes up. While I was there, I also noticed that Dear Brother, which is another series there, was in the funding portion for its 3rd set, and so I went ahead and put some there because that apparently will be the final one for that. Seems like it would be a nice to have. And now I'm pretty much set and ready to start monitoring Anime Souls for stuff. I did pre-order everything that's coming out soon. I couldn't help but think there was some things I wanted to note, but I can't think of anything in particular. But I can remember that next week is the re-release of Ghost Stories on DVD. And now, if you're not familiar with the anime, you should probably just search for the Ghost Stories dub on YouTube, because it's a rather funny dub. Intentionally over the top. Kind of a classical noteworthy, sort of. I don't know if classical is the right word. I'm trying to think if there was anything strange that was on the horizon. I am, of course, familiar with Torador's Blu-ray release, which will also have NIS's first dub, I guess. Yeah, I can't think of anything else of theirs that was dubbed. So I will order that. I did order the premium version, so we will get to see what that looks like and if that will become part of the pile of NIS stuff or not. I don't know. I guess I can't remember what I ordered because there was just enough of it. Interesting things I discovered. So pretty much I'm just looking forward to next month's release of Puella Magi Madoka Magica Movie 3. For now, for stuff I've watched, it's pretty much just two anime. That's Psycho Pass and the second half of the Pet Girl of Sakurasou. So for Psycho Pass, it was actually pretty nice. And even more notable was that anime is almost close to the textbook definition of cyberpunk, which is something that I don't think a lot of anime tend to visit these days, and it was very well executed. I mean, I think there are definitely things there that could be problems for people. It's not going to be the perfect anime ever, but it was still nice and good. And I don't know. I know when I first started watching it, there was a part of it that felt like Witch Hunter Robin. Like, I could be watching an anime that could be like revisit of that kind of concept, but it wasn't. The major difference being that Psycho Pass does have a story it's trying to tell, whereas Witch Hunter Robin has a bunch of Witch of the Week sort of episodes that culminate in why have we been doing all this sort of thing in the second half, I guess, when the story does start unfolding. So what I'm saying is that Psycho Pass kind of has a purpose to the stories it tells you, even if it's not immediately obvious. So it builds things up very interesting. It reveals, I thought, some interesting bad guys. I'm going to use that term because I don't really want to use what came to mind to describe a whole lot of stuff. Yeah, I don't know. I just thought it was neat. Now, for me personally, it's not going to be on my top favorite list. So I would probably not be one of the people cosplaying as that, but I do know that a lot of people cosplayed as these characters, and the only way I could recognize them at that time was because they looked a bit plain. Like, I'm like, I don't know how many characters I've seen wearing suits like that in anime, so how am I supposed to tell? Well, obviously you're supposed to tell because of little extra things that are added, such as the Psycho Pass gun and whatnot, but well, it's nice to have finally watched it and say, okay, now I know what it is. I know for sure it's not any of those other things I picked up. I was pretty sure it wasn't, but you can only second guess yourself so much. The other yeah, I guess I don't have anything else to say about that. So the other thing I watched, like I said, was the second half of the Pet Girl of Sakurasou. Now, if you recall from my comments on the first half, it actually would have been a pretty decent anime with just the first half. I wouldn't say that the second half really improved it per se. It just stayed pretty decent. There are definitely a couple of problems in there, but some of those are just bound to happen when you have animes in which problems happen. And there were also some neat things. With the first half, I kind of mentioned how there were a lot of stereotypes that the anime seemed to be pulling off much better than other similar anime, where it's more convincing. It's been more convincing. Some of that stuff's more convincing. A common trope that's used a lot is the one where the girl says something that people misunderstand and blame it on the main guy, but sometimes it's like it's almost just a little bit contrived in most situations when anime use it. But the Pet Girl of Sakurasou pulled it off in a way that I thought was just expected. Like, you couldn't see it happening any other way, because that's just the way these characters are. And I guess I've been maybe not saying what exactly I mean by that, and I'll probably leave it that way. But I can talk about, second half. I think there's only one problem I really have with the end. I kind of appreciate what they were going for with this one specific scene, but I could level a pretty obvious complaint at it that would say they could have done that one a little better. It was almost becoming more of an excuse to have everybody, the watching audience, reminisce about the series, and it didn't make sense for other characters to also be appreciative per se. So that part is a little contrived, I thought, but not too bad. So the overall experience of the Pet Girl of Sakurasou was, it was nice. I'm really glad I watched it. Like Psychopaths, it's not going to be on a personal favorite, but it'll be on one of those ones where I'm like, I'm not going to forget this one. I hope. Because there's one thing I realized, is that my memory seems to be unable to hold on to everything I watch. Although, saying that, yeah, I guess the only reason I didn't watch more anime than that, despite having good opportunity to, was I think I might have mentioned that my personal streaming server, I've been playing around with it. The way I have it set up, I tell it individual episodes on the DVD. I tell it how to get those individual episodes so that if I want to watch Stargate Atlantis Season 3 episode, whatever, the Tower of Rodney, I'll be able to tell it, yeah, encode that. Okay, now I'm going to watch it. If I want to watch Ground Control to Psycho Electric Girl, I can say, okay, encode episode 1, I want to watch that. If I want to rewatch Evangelion episode 16, I can rewatch just that. I don't have to jump around into the DVDs, because I have the data that tells my personal program how to get just that episode out of the DVD. And therein lies a problem, because I've been improving the way my streaming server streams and presents its data and handles its data to me. Basically, it means that I also made it where I can be lazy. I no longer have to say, oh, the series I'm watching, let's encode the next episode. Or I don't have to be... Oh, I can still be even lazier and say, okay, now that that's taken care of, let's also watch the next episode. It does that. It can do that stuff automatically for me now. So basically, because I love to just jump into random Stargate SG-1s, at least within the past couple of months, half a year or something like that, I've been telling it to encode all of it just because I keep saying, I never know which episode I want to specifically be watching. It's kind of nicer when they're available. So my server's been automatically playing them on my computer here, and so whenever I'm in the middle of watching an anime, I'm like, oh my god, that's the episode with the bounty hunter. I have to pause the anime and unmute the computer and watch the episode, because that's what it happens to be doing. And of course that meant that I didn't get as much anime watching done this weekend as I would have hoped. I had a lot of time. I had all of the weekend to myself, and I wasn't even playing video games. And sorry, SG-1 I think is a good show, and that one has been catching my attention. Oh well, maybe next weekend. I don't know what's happening next weekend, this weekend. So, that's pretty much it. Again, I can't help but think there was something else I was going to mention, anime DVD release-wise, but I can't think. Oh, I guess there's that. I don't remember the name of the anime, but the one with the girl with the eye patch that I've seen referenced a lot. That one's finally coming out. Although I don't know if it's next month or the month after. And Attack on Titan is, of course, going to be released in June, finally. So I'll finally get to see that. Yay! So, I'm going to go back to waiting for those. Y'all, have a nice week.